Hey friends, welcome. Some of you may have noticed I've been MIA for a few weeks, and I am so excited to catch up with all of you. Today I will be busting out my water fountain that I bought a month ago and putting that out there on my fence, the little black table. If you saw that prior video, as a final touch on my fence glow up. And I am also going to give you a little garden update while we're out there. And more importantly, probably, I want to share with you what I've been up to for the last month and some really exciting future plans. So let's get into it. There were a couple of good reasons for my absence from YouTube the past month. First, I traveled back to Kansas City to see my grandson Nicholas graduate from high school. And I also enjoyed spending a few days catching up with the family and enjoying Kansas City, of course, which I kicked off the minute I got there. I talked my Danny into stopping at IKEA on the way into town from the airport because I'd never been there. And it was kind of sort of on the way to her house. And I'm so glad she had been there because, man, that place is an amazing maze. I managed to keep myself to buying just one thing I knew would fit in my suitcase, this cute little clock that I keep in the bathroom. And you know, good to have it in there when you don't have your phone to look at for the time. And I'm really enjoying having that. It was $5. And we managed to snag some Swedish meatballs and cinnamon rolls on the way out the door. Yum! So then my first full day, I had Danny all to myself because Gabby was in New Jersey with her fiance at a friend's wedding. And Danny and I had the most wonderful mother-daughter day together. I am so blessed in my daughters. She went out of her way to buy me these beautiful flowers for Mother's Day. And I so enjoyed those while I was there. And she really fixed up the spare bedroom beautifully. And I can't tell you how welcome she made me feel. And it was fun just seeing all the cute little things they've added to their townhome since I was there last. And I commented on these gorgeous little beads, and Danny said those are actually curtain holders. So I had to have her demonstrate for you guys because I have never seen anything like this before. She said she got them on Amazon, and I think these are such a brilliant idea. I thought you'd just want to have a quick peek at these for anyone who wants an idea for how to hold your curtains back in an elegant way without the old-fashioned tassel method. And I can't say enough how much I admire Danny and Gabby's decor style. We did TJ Maxx and Dillard's for some earrings. And then we capped it off with a nice late lunch at Cheesecake Factory, which I never get to go to. We don't have one here in my city. So that was wonderful. And then on Friday, my mom rolled into town and Danny and I took her to breakfast at her favorite local cafe. I think it's called Pagoda's. And that was so nice. I haven't had real cafe food in years, so I really enjoyed that. And then Saturday and Sunday were all about the graduation festivities, of course.
Class of 2025. Turn your tassel and toss those caps.
It was so wonderful to see Nicholas graduate, but I can't believe he's now 18 and a high school graduate. I mean, am I the only one constantly saying, I can't believe how fast time is going? And then I also wanted to share with you real quick, I was so tickled to find out that my wonderful daughter-in-law, Lindsay, had seen a prior video of mine, the Aldi trellis planner video, and she got inspired, ran out that same day and got lucky, snagged a couple of those trellis planners. And I just wanted to share with you really quickly her fabulous idea. She turned these into like toy boxes for their big dogs in the house. And I thought that was such a creative use for those things. I would never have thought of that. And then my last day, we went to the World Market, which I've never been there before either, you know. Kansas City is a huge metro area and they've got everything. So there's a lot of places I've never been to before, you guys. But that was real fun exploring that with everyone. And I managed to only let myself buy a bag of rescue coffee. And that's good. If you guys are ever at a World Market, you might want to snag some of that. And on the way home from World Market, the girls wanted to show me their favorite coffee shop in the whole town, Urban Prairie Coffee. And their coffee was good, but I've got to say their huge chocolate chip cookies were amazing. The best cookies I have ever had in my life, I swear. So if you're ever in Kansas City, check out Urban Prairie Coffee and be sure and get a chocolate chip cookie. So that pretty much is a wrap on my Kansas City trip. And of course, it was really great to be home. It always is. But the only negative to coming home was realizing that I had a lot of debts. And if you've been following me, you may have seen all the work I've been doing in the backyard all through April and early May, juicing it up out there. And I'd only been able to enjoy all of those flowers and plants about a week or two before I left for Kansas City. And in spite of paying a friend to feed the cats and water my garden, I guess she just couldn't handle the garden part. So luckily, only the expensive flowers that I had just put in died. My actual veggie garden is in the shade in the afternoon, so it handled the heat okay. But man, Mother Nature was not on my side while I was gone, because it was over 90 every day and not a drop of rain for a solid week. And of course, Murphy's Law. The minute I got back, it seems like it's been raining every day at some point, but you know, man plans and God laughs, right? So I ran to Walmart that same night I got home because I couldn't stand it, and I got some replacement plants. And then the next day, I spent several hours in the garden taking out the dead ones, putting the new ones in there and whatnot. And while I was at Walmart, I decided to pick up some red, white, and blue plants to do a little arrangement for my patio table, because my bestie's coming back for 4th of July weekend, and I thought that'd be fun to sit and enjoy while she's here. We like to do our coffee out there before it gets too hot. And of course, red, white, and blue, you know, 4th of July is one of those holidays we don't have to do any work to enjoy, right? Thank goodness. But I do like to do just a couple minor things to kind of mark the holiday. And of course, we're gonna plan on hitting the beach every single day, weather permitting. So I am really looking forward to spending time with her again. And that takes me to my future exciting plans I wanted to share with you all. I am planning to move back to Kansas City. If you guys are new here, let me just give you a little quick background. My twin daughters, Danny and Gabby, graduated from high school in the summer of 2023, and a month later, they moved to Kansas City. And of course, being a sudden empty nester with your daughters going halfway across the country and leaving you behind, that was pretty heartbreaking. But I got through it because, you know, I'm an adult, and I put my adult hat on and said, you guys are gonna have to go on without me, which they really didn't want to. You know, they rented a place big enough for all of us. You know, the responsible side of me knew heading off to Kansas City with 3 years left on my car payment and a bunch of expensive dental work that I needed to get done just was not a good idea. So those have been my two big goals to work on for the past 2 years. Took me twice as long as I told myself it would, but I am so happy to say I am really at the tail end of achieving those goals, and I am so thankful to be able to say that. I am also planning on renting a place when I get there with Danny, and I have lots of stuff and used to having my own place. So my preference is to get a place of my own before I pack up and move. Well, Danny also wants to get her own place until she meets Mr. Right, because Gabby and Mike, the couple thing, and Danny wants to have her own place, and she's thrilled to get a place with me because, things are so expensive now. Even with a good job, it's easier to split the bills between two people. The only catch is, and the last spoke that I have to get in my wheel before I can roll, is we have to find a place. And you guys would not believe how tight the Kansas City rental market is. It's crazy. We don't want an apartment. We want a townhouse or a home. And of course, in a nicer neighborhood and all of that jazz. Danny's got that now in the townhouse they're in, and she's put her name on a wait list for that little townhome community she's in. We love the architecture, we love the management there. It would be such a blessing, but you guys, there are only 3 or 4 townhomes or houses for rent on the market at any given time there, and they all have 100 applicants. So please say a prayer for me and Danny that we are blessed with the perfect house and I can get on my way by this fall. That is my biggest hope and dream, because I've got everything lined up except I need to finish purging over here. I got a lot of stuff. If you've been following me for a while, thank you so much. And you may have seen a video last year where I made a ginormous purge list, which I'll share with you real quick here. And I got halfway through it and then kind of ran out of steam, knowing it was going to take me a little longer than I had told myself it would. So I thought, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. You know how that goes. Well, tomorrow's just about here, so I need to get on it. And my next video will be a purging video. I'm going to be hopefully doing a garage sale. I've been piling stuff up in the spare bedroom, and that is definitely going to be my mission because I got to get on it. Nobody wants to purge and pack at the same time. I did that the last time we moved and I almost didn't survive it. But I'll get her done. So now that you're all caught up on my doings and my goals, let's go outside and check out that new water fountain. Here's the bench that I want to put the fountain on. And I bought this at a Goodwill. If you saw my prior video, I paid $6 for this. It's metal and very sturdy. Mucky here and there, and could use just a light coat of spray paint to cover up these spots. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Just while that's drying, I'm going to put this fountain together. So here's our paint of choice. And of course I gave this a quick wipe down with a wet brush and then a dry towel. So I'm gonna get to spraying. I've been doing a lot of spray painting this summer. Meanwhile, back on the patio, I am putting together this fountain. I got it on Amazon. I paid too much money for it. And I'm honestly kind of questioning whether I should unbox it and set it up, since I'm hoping to move by fall. But life is short, and I figure I have at least 90 days before I'll get to move, and I might as well get this fountain out and enjoy it. So let's unbox this and see what it looks like. Instructions. Parts. This is a solar fountain, by the way. I was going for that lava rock natural look. So, I wanted it to be tall enough that I could see it from the patio looking over there to the fence area. Oh no, you guys. Okay, I just took this out of the box. And do you see this hole? I don't think that's supposed to be there. Alright, here are my instructions for the solar panel parts. And that's the back of it. So somewhere this has to get connected to that. So onward. Right now, I wish my son were here, because even though there's hardly any parts, this kind of doesn't make any sense to me. And these have to be the most sparse instructions I have ever seen. Okay guys, I think I've MacGyvered my way through this, and for anyone who's interested in this type of fountain, it sort of just visually made sense where things had to go once I got to really looking. I'm gonna go plant this in the ground and put that on the table as soon as my paint is dry, fill it up with water, and then we'll take a look at this. Hopefully it works. Okay, more logicking. This solar panel has a really long power cord, which is somewhat unsightly. The sun rises in the east there and sets in the west over there. So this solar panel, you know, if I plant it in the ground, the only place I can plant it is down here. It's not going to get a lot of sun down there because it's going to get shade from that and then shade from the fountain in the afternoon. So what I'm thinking is I'll unhook this cord and stick that through this hole, and then I can put the solar panel over here on this side, where, you know, by 8 o'clock there's going to be a lot of sun hitting it all day long. Okay, you guys, it's time to put some water in this bad boy and turn it on. And let me say that deciding to put the solar panel on the other side of the fence not only will help it get more sun, but it also allowed me to hide the majority of the power cord, which I tucked along the bricks there. And then the wad of cord is behind this pot. I think that worked out well. That's so cute. I love it. And it does have lights, so at night it'll, you know, have a little glow to it. MacGyver that hole shut. I don't think it's that big a deal. You know, it doesn't have to look perfect because these rocks certainly don't look perfect. But just to stand back, that's what it looks like. Gonna get a flower pot, maybe a large and a small for right here, because, you know, if you're gonna go big, go all the way. That's what I say. How sweet is that? My viewer Lisa, who suggested this, thank you again so much, girl. And comment down below if you guys have a water feature in your property, your backyard. I would love to know. This is the first time in my life I've ever owned a water fountain. I got this little fountain project done just in the nick of time because the sun's about to pop over the garage and I am already sweating. It's 82 and 7:30 in the morning. But I wanted to show you really quick. I replaced these Stephalanthus, whatever they're called. Those died, but the rosemary didn't, thank goodness. And of course I've been watering them diligently every day, but it's hot enough all day long with the sun blazing along here. They're kind of struggling. I did take another viewer's advice and I put little metal risers underneath the pots so that there's, you know, about that much airspace flowing under there and they're not sitting directly on the sidewalk. And I think that's helping. And then here are the flowers I replaced. I had impatiens here that died, and I saved those, that, you know, bit that was left of those beautiful $15 impatient plants, and I put them back here. This one held up a little better, it's coming back, but the two things that made it through the drought and the heat were these and the vinca. So if you live in a hot climate and want to plant flowers where they get a lot of sun, go for vinca, because these things look better than ever. Everything else, as you saw from the video, was pretty much dead. And then I was so thrilled last week to see this gladiola finally bloom for the first time since I planted it 3 years ago, and I figured that was a sign that I was meant to have this beautiful little garden bed with trellis that I worked so hard on. But I'm sure enjoying my flowers. and everything else made it. I think I added these purple flowers since I filmed things for you guys, and I am loving these. I got them purposely because, of course, it said they could take full sun, but also because I like the way they're sort of frondy and drapey. Scaevola? I'm not sure how to pronounce that, you guys forgive me. But for $4.97, I'm really enjoying those, and surprisingly, they have a really pretty scent. Kind of hard to describe, almost like a lavender scent. It's subtle, but it's so pretty. And then my veggie garden, the sweet potatoes are winning, right? Look at them going. They originally started out in one bed, but I've gotten lots and lots of green beans. They're on their last leg thanks to the drought and the heat, but they've given me at least 2 pounds of green beans from what was 5 little plants there. And I am planning on pulling up the sweet potatoes from this bed over the weekend. I know I've got a few little sweet potatoes in there because I can see a couple. I want to take them out of there and plant some more peppers because I'm a pepper crazy person. Then I planted these pepper seeds and these finally got going. I think I've got a big pepper here. Yep. And some rosemary. I've gotten 2 or 3 squash off of this plant, which is so nice. And then these pear tomatoes, these are going crazy. I think I'm going to pull the bushes in front. I have 2 in front and 2 in back, and then plant something else here in the front because I can't keep up with all those tomatoes. Kind of hard to see them, but a lot. There's such a nice light tomato flavor, and the color, of course, is so fun. And I'm sure those things would sell for a lot if I packaged them up. I could probably sell them for $3.50 a pint, but maybe at my garage sale. And here's the view of my little fountain from my patio. Of course, I can see it better in real life than you can on this video. So I had to buzz to Dollar Tree and get some of this clay. Thank goodness they had some. I had to pick up a few other things, of course, and I'm heading back home. It's a little squidge of this gray clay. They each come individually wrapped. This is really all I need. I am going to attempt to flatten out this little piece of clay. This stuff is more like plastique. I don't know how else to describe it. It's not your standard clay, but all the more perfect for my purposes. So let's go out there and see if we can plug the hole. Okay, so we're at the scene of the hole, and we've sort of trimmed this clay down to hole size. And let me tell you what, in this hot sun, this clay is sort of instantly turning into a gummy-like surface, or texture, I should say. And that's perfect for my purposes. And we'll do some faux painting to try to blend it in. But hey, that's better than a hole. So now it's Saturday morning, and I'm out here going to faux paint the clay over that hole I covered. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It blends in. You know, if you didn't know I'd done it, you wouldn't notice it. And I love the way this whole area has turned out. Thank you all for stopping by and spending time with me today. I really appreciate it. I'll see y'all on the next one.